Good morning. It is my pleasure to present the 2026 fiscal year budget proposal for your consideration. Every budget and every budget address begins with a blank slate. We are open to new ideas and initiatives as we prepare for the year ahead, but this year's story is writing itself in an unprecedented manner. For the first time, we must plan based on threats to the very existence of the federal departments and programs our residents depend on for food, shelter, education, energy assistance, and critical medical services. The programs that survive the threat of cuts will likely see funding sliced away, leaving gaping holes that will hurt the most vulnerable among us. Further coloring the picture is the scene in Springfield. This past May, a proposal to provide funding to our regional transit system threatened to steal $72 million of our DuPage tax revenue right from under us. This plan would have taken our hard-earned money and given it to unelected bureaucrats at the transit agencies. Of course, we support adequate, responsible funding of our transit system. We simply want to ensure that DuPage residents and our suburban neighbors do not disproportionately foot the bill. I am working energetically with colleagues to arrive at a fair governance solution and one that gives DuPage and the Collier counties a seat at the table. Those engaged in the new governance structure will make decisions involving hundreds of millions of dollars. We must have a voice. We will have a voice. And I will always fight to prevent the rubber-stamped, unchecked spending and lack of transparency that got us to this fiscal cliff in the first place. So where does that leave us? I'd say DuPage County remains a beacon of fiscal responsibility and stability. I propose a balanced budget that keeps a watchful eye on the bottom line and plans to address the desperate need that will arise if fiscal cuts impact DuPage County's critical services. I didn't get to a balanced budget proposal alone. Allow me just a moment to thank our team of faithful budgeteers. First, our finance chair and vice chair. Paula Deacon Garcia and Cindy Cronin Cahill spent many hours reviewing budgets, considering options, and proposing solutions as we waded through requests and revenue projections. Our finance staff, led by CFO Jeff Martinovich and Deputy CFO Jennifer Sin, do the heavy lifting. We thank you and your team for burning the midnight oil week after week. As you have heard me say, in my two previous budget addresses, the requests from county departments and elected officials exceeded revenue projections for 2026. This year, requests came in $34 million over projected revenue. Our budget team also heard, loud and clear, that this board wanted to plan based on actual expenditures that occurred throughout the previous year. Therefore, I directed staff to A, as much as possible, analyze actual expenditure figures from the past years to determine appropriate funding levels for 2026 line items. B, align funding for staffing levels based on a 5-year vacancy rate average. It's my belief that this critical review will bring the 2026 proposed budget lines much closer to actual expenditures than in previous years. This approach was taken across all departments and elected officials' offices to better align requests with revenue expectations. This includes the DuPage County Clerk's Office. The Clerk's Office, once again, did not engage in dialogue with the budget team, nor did they provide a presentation to the board explaining their 2026 request. Next year, there will be a gubernatorial election. Therefore, as in years past, members Garcia, Cahill, and I instructed our finance team to compare actual expenditures from the last gubernatorial election cycle, which was in 2022. Accounting for increases over time in personnel, commodities, and contractual services costs, we then set the budget for the election division of the clerk's office 14% higher than the actual expenditures from 4 years ago. We used a similar approach, comparing actual expenditures to determine the budget for the rest of the clerk's operation. So now you know how we developed a spending plan. Let me tell you what our investments are. The first area I want to address is public safety. In fiscal year 2026, the budget of the Sheriff's Office, State's Attorney, and Public Defender will be higher than their actual expenses and budgeted amount for 2025. As we heard from Mr. Berlin, violent crime is down, and we want to keep it that way. Providing the resources to assure that our streets and neighborhoods are safe is one of my top priorities. Last year, we also supported Chief Judge Bonnie Wheaton as she requested a behavioral health court navigator to provide mental health support to those seeking and providing services at the courthouse. That pilot program has proven to be an overwhelming success. Recognizing the need to address emotional and mental health crises in real time, we support Judge Wheaton's plan to provide additional mental health resources, including a new support dog, to help people who are undergoing perhaps some of the most difficult days of their lives as they testify or otherwise appear in court. When we talk about answering the mental health needs of our residents, we anticipate our new Crisis Recovery Center will positively impact the criminal justice and healthcare systems. We cut the ribbon on our new center August 13th, and the doors are finally open, treating those struggling with mental health or addiction. You've heard me say the CRC will be a game changer. It seems the PGA Tour agrees. We were pleased to accept a $250,000 donation from the Tours Foundation last week. But more important was the vote of confidence from such a prestigious national organization. I want to thank Board of Health President and District 1 Representative Sam Tonatore, who will help us welcome the PGA Tour to Medina 1 year from this week, next year. This was a wonderful way to acknowledge our work to break down stigma surrounding mental health treatment and provide a new model for helping those in need. Let's take a moment to talk about how we will help those in need throughout the county in 2026. As I evaluated the devastating social service cuts proposed at the federal level, I knew that we might not know what cuts would be implemented, or whether Congress would simply approve a continuing resolution funding these federal programs for a finite period. Here's what we do know. We can expect further proposals that undermine these important programs throughout the Trump administration. As DuPage County Chair, I am meeting this moment with a bold proposal of my own. I believe we can be fiscally responsible and take care of people. We will use our resources to meet immediate needs and create a stronger social service infrastructure, ensuring programs are delivered in an efficient manner, assuring the highest value for each dollar we expend. My 2026 budget calls for the creation of an $18.1 million DuPage Sustainability Initiative Fund. This large investment will devote both 2026 budget dollars and 2025 expected surplus funds to important initiatives addressing the most basic needs of our residents. The first area this initiative will address is food insecurity. Everyone agrees that our local pantries are straining to keep up with the demand that is growing dramatically. Cuts to federal nutrition programs, including SNAP, will worsen the problem. My FY 2026 budget proposal dedicates $1 million to food supply for those in need. I propose we add another $1 million from any FY 2025 surplus funds to this purpose. That would be an infusion of $2 million for food to support our pantries and other organizations that distribute meals to those in need. This is added to the $1.1 million still in the ARPA interest fund earmarked for food. I believe this board shares my belief that no child, no individual, no family in DuPage County should go hungry. We also recognize we must invest in a more efficient food distribution system so that fresh, healthy food gets to people sooner and in the best condition possible. You heard from Loaves and Fish's Executive Director, Mike Cavala, about his plan to vastly increase his warehouse space to provide more storage, refrigeration, and freezer space, benefiting our whole county's food distribution chain. I propose we allocate $2.5 million from any FY 2025 surplus funds to invest in the Loaves and Fishes Food Distribution Hub 2.0 project. DuPage residents will directly benefit as the extra storage will alleviate pressure on both large and small pantries throughout our county. The Food Insecurity Fund will now grow to $5.6 million, addressing our immediate needs and improving the food distribution infrastructure, ensuring sufficient delivery of fresh, healthy food, meeting today's demands and those for years to come. The second category in our DuPage Sustainability Initiative retools our approach to affordable housing. This, too, is a pressing need. I propose a housing innovation fund that wraps together all the work we've already completed to create more attainable housing choices in DuPage, including some important zoning changes. I will encompass the work of our Housing Solutions Committee will do to create a land bank and community housing trust. I also am charging our staff with developing a down payment assistance program aimed at first-time home buyers so that people who were raised here and who are working here can actually afford to live here. To support these efforts, I propose injecting a new $5 million from any FY 2025 surplus funds to support the first-time homebuyer program, which we hope to introduce in the year ahead. Together with the existing $5 million previously allocating to Housing Solutions, our 2026 Housing Innovation Fund will consist of $10 million for programs and initiatives we will define and launch throughout the Housing Solutions Committee. Roll up your sleeves, everybody. It's going to be a busy year. And finally, you've heard me say this phrase before when we consider how decisions at the federal level will impact our DuPage residents. We don't know what we don't know. Every day the picture changes in Washington, and we must be ready to support our people. I propose a third category in our DuPage Sustainability Initiative, which is called Community Sustainability Fund. I propose we add $2.5 million from any expected FY 2025 surplus dollars to fund this part of the initiative. These dollars will address any immediate challenges resulting from federal program reductions or changes that directly impact our residents. Creating the DuPage Sustainability Initiative required a delicate balancing act and, frankly, could not have been achieved unless our revenue picture remained as steady and strong as it has been. But again, federal action, including the imposition of tariffs, will impact sales tax and employment numbers in the year ahead. Any further rate cuts by the Federal Reserve may jumpstart home sales. It all remains to be seen. As a result, we've taken the data into consideration along with past performance and created careful, cautious revenue projections for the year ahead, planning for a healthy contingency fund to provide a safety net if needed. To deliver the initiatives I've outlined and to create conditions in which our residents can not only survive, but thrive, I propose a carefully planned program of both human and capital investments, leveraging expected 2025 surplus funds. Our projections estimate a surplus of at least $25 million. The program I'll outline allows us to relieve pressures in the coming year and lays a strong foundation as we look to meet the county's needs in the years to come. The surplus initiatives include allocating $9 million to support stormwater management efforts, both here on campus and in the community. We must provide funding to address repairs needed at the Elmhurst Quarry. I propose we use $4 million in expected surplus for that purpose. The quarry is a vital flood control facility that protects people and property in DuPage. We need another $5 million to complete stormwater projects here on campus that will protect the millions of dollars we've already invested in our buildings here, and this investment will safeguard our infrastructure and equipment. I propose allocating $3 million in any surplus funds to pay for further campus capital needs administered by facilities management. I also propose allocating $1 million to our reserves, shoring up our rainy day fund should a sudden emergency arise that we must address. We'll continue our support of the families living in Hinsdale Lake Terrace. I propose utilizing $1 million in expected surplus to fund two important programs in 2026. These include the enormously successful rideshare program, which is making a huge impact on families in this development. It will also help to pay for the county's share of the sidewalk and street lighting projects there. Preliminary engineering will be underway throughout 2026. Finally, I propose any additional funds available through the FY 2025 surplus to go to fund the new transportation building on campus, allowing us to complete the project with minimal or no debt. It's always welcome news to discuss an expected budget surplus, but as I said, our budget team was charged with developing a spending proposal that reflected actual average expenditure levels and reduces funding in areas where headcount is not traditionally filled. We've pursued savings to present a realistic, balanced budget, but we are only part of the equation. Let's not forget the hard work of those elected officials, department directors, and staff members who constantly work to seek value, saving the county money wherever they can on behalf of our taxpayers. I'd like to ask our senior staff and county board staff to stand and be recognized for embodying our culture of fiscal responsibility as they serve the public. Please stand. We would be nowhere without them. Clearly speaking of our employees, I've saved the best for last. We will continue to support our staff with a high-quality package of benefits that provides health, dental, and life insurance, as well as employee assistance program, tuition reimbursement, and a generous 12-week paid parental leave program, to name just a few of our many benefits. This year, we learned the cost of our health care benefits will increase by more than 15%. But thanks to significant negotiations on the part of our benefit team and healthcare consultants, employees will not see double-digit increases. The county is seeking adjustments to some parts of their plans as we maintain our traditional 80-20 cost share with our workers. To help balance those adjustments, I'm proposing a 3% cost of living adjustment for employees to be paid in December of 2025, when the new fiscal year begins. We stand firmly behind the people who work each day to serve residents of DuPage County. Therefore, I propose a balanced budget of $644.7 million with a general fund totaling $263.1 million. I propose a tax levy of $71.5 million, seeking only to include new instruction growth as we have done in past years. To equalize the burden on us all, my 2026 budget proposal assumes we keep the DuPage County property tax flat at just 2% of the average homeowner's property tax bill. We anticipate our strong revenue performance to continue next year, which will help us meet our obligations. DuPage County's government general fund balance remains healthy. Our IMRF pension obligations are fully funded in FY 2026. We enjoy a AAA bond rating from all three rating agencies, and we have planned for adequate contingency levels should there be an urgent need we must meet to maintain the health or safety of our residents. We cannot control what we cannot control around us. Threatened federal cuts and pressure to fund regional transit have set a challenging table for us, but pull up a chair. I choose to see these obstacles as opportunities to think big and answer the need with bold solutions. The plan I've laid out today balances carefully considered revenue projections with streamlined spending. It provides a thoughtful strategy for investing surplus dollars on initiatives that allow us to improve and maintain our infrastructure and provide for the most significant needs in our county. Most importantly, it sets forth a new plan to feed families, create new housing solutions, and support our residents, even if critical program reductions become their new reality. My message bears repeating: we will be fiscally responsible, and we will take care of people. Thank you for your kind attention this morning. The 2026 budget plan was developed as a team effort Now we continue as a team, working together to prioritize the plan for the year ahead. Please know I am incredibly grateful for your partnership, furthering our shared mission to make DuPage County a place where all people can grow and thrive in a safe, welcoming community. I think it's the best job in the world. Thank you.